Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remember it so you don't have to. We put up with some pretty weird shit in our childhoods, didn't we? We had midget bears that made people feel better by shooting out their radioactive stomachs, premature reptiles that studied ninjutsu while eating processed Italian food, and an alien whose nose, quite frankly, should have been censored. Yet with all that strangeness going on, there are still a few select moments that stick out in the totally messed up department. These are known as the mindfuck moments. The times when not only are you looking at total craziness, but it's constantly being thrown at you and simply will not let up. It can be just a few moments, or it can sometimes be the length of the entire movie. Either way, there's absolutely nothing normal about it! Now, I've already mentioned the Tom and Jerry movie in another review, and trust me when I say that aborted atrocity doesn't have to be mentioned again. But there are still 11 other choices that deserve to be looked at and feared beyond reason. So, in this special surreal edition of the Nostalgia Critic, I'd like you to forget about your calm, logical reality and enter a world of crazy, insane, fucked up-tivity. This is the top 11 nostalgic mindfucks. Number Banana. Toontown from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. This is every kid's dream come true and every adult's worst nightmare. A world crawling with completely insane cartoon characters. At first it sounds cool, but when you really get down to it, a lot of your favorite cartoon characters are fucking assholes.
This little kitty went to market.
Every other second something's either shouting, exploding, or trying to kill you. It's like a weekend at Ted Nugent's house. Plus, it's probably the only time you'll see Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse together. That alone is pretty surreal. Yeah, so how's Pixar saving your ass this time, Mickey? Suck my enchanted ball sack, you hunk of shit! It was always bright and colorful, but it was also manic and totally out of control, making a simple daytime stroll a freaking fight for your life. Operating on cartoon logic, that is to say, no logic, Toontown definitely knew how to make us all grateful to be living in the real world.
Tunes gets them every time.
I'm a carrot. Number Balloon. Cool World. This is a horrible movie. It makes no sense, the acting is horrible, and nothing about it is funny or dramatic. But boy was it fucked up, creating a city of faces, a million violent residents, and just to make it as surreal as possible, Brad Pitt.
You're dealing with shit here that's way over your head.
Alright, I can take the madness and chaos of this world, but Brad Pitt? For some reason that's just too far! He's surreal enough just being with Angelina Jolie. He doesn't need any help from this movie.
I've heard it, it bores me.
Much like Toontown, Cool World was always loud and obnoxious. But rather than being bright and colorful, Cool World was dark and grainy, creating one of the coolest hellholes ever put on film. Unfortunately, it does its job a little too well. By the time this movie was over, I ran for the exit like the screen was on fire. And judging by the images, it was hard to tell whether it was or not.
This place should be erased.
Still, even for all its nonsensical anarchy, Cool World did have, well, nonsensical anarchy. And I guess that is something to be admired.
We may not be real to you as yet, but we will be.
Yes. 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 Number Z. Dragon's Lair 2, Time Warp. Now I know it's kind of cheating putting a video game in the mix, but Dragon's Lair 2 was a fully 2D animated adventure, and was still enjoyable to watch even if you weren't playing it. Unlike the first arcade game that simply put you in different rooms in different situations, Dragon's Lair 2 actually moved like a story. Well, sort of. There were actual levels instead of just obstacles, but they still didn't make that much sense. Like the first level is just escaping your angry mother-in-law. How strange is that?
You better fight my daughter or...
There's another level where you're confused for Alice from Alice in Wonderland.
Was brillig and the slightly told decay and gimble in the wave, all mimsy were the boracles and the moonlight outfleet.
But the strangest level of all has got to be the Beethoven level. You start off at the size of a mouse as you're fighting off a cat in Beethoven's house. Sounds basic enough, but look what happens as time goes by. What the hell? Why is the piano flying? Why is the cat breathing fire? And why did Beethoven suddenly turn into Elton John? We never get an answer for any of this, but to be honest, the answers will probably just confuse us more. The Dragon's Lair games were not only intense to play, but they were a trip to watch, making no sense whatsoever. But given the director's other projects, I'd say we've come to expect that. And in this case, actually enjoy it.
Porcupines are gone!
Next number. Number Toaster. The Paraphernalia Wagon from Grinch Night. The Grinch had a number of spin-offs after How the Grinch Stole Christmas, including Grinch Night, The Grinch Grinches the Cat in the Hat, and probably the most controversial, How the Grinch Killed Horton. But this was by far the strangest of them, as all the Who's down in Whoville are afraid of the Grinch coming down from his mountain and into the neighborhood. So it's up to a small boy named Euchariah to stand up to the Grinch and try to distract him. Why is he coming to town? Because the wind has changed. Why is everyone afraid of him? Because he's the Grinch, I guess. Okay, so this plot made absolutely no sense whatsoever. And given the stories of Dr. Seuss, that's saying a lot. On top of that, it's a very dialogue-heavy special with very little action or visuals.
Euchariah said,
Grandpa Josiah?
and Grandpa Josiah said,
Yes, Euchariah?
and Euchariah said,
Call the Grinch Alarm Center.
and Grandpa Josiah said,
Excellent suggestion.
and Euchariah said,
Shut up! That is, until the Grinch opens up his paraphernalia wagon, or as I like to call it, hell.
Grinch is gonna get ya! Grinch is gonna get ya! Mitts and beer for a laugh! Yeah!
Unlike the adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, though, all the creatures and visuals have structure, and are pretty impressive to look at if your 5-year-old mind can take it.
Grinch is gonna get ya! Grinch is gonna get ya! Mitts and beer for a laugh! Mitts and beer for a laugh!
I just wet myself.
Logical? No. Crazy? Nah. Fucked up beyond all recognition? You bet your friggin' ass. Grinch Night is one night on the town I think we'd all like to forget sooner than later. Now on to our next Wait a minute, this isn't right. Much better. Number Love. Raggedy Ann and Andy, a musical adventure. Now I know what you're thinking. How can a movie based on a prissy little doll have anything resembling a mindfuck moment? Well, just watch some of it.
Is this endless eating all there is to be?
The reason that is 'cause I love you.
What the fuck? This was a weird freaking movie with bizarre characters and strange settings. It came out in the 70s, what a surprise, and was the first film to ever be based on the doll. So nobody really knew what to do with it. So they decided to do anything they wanted to do with it, adding the strangest images ever to be associated with the character. I think the strangest parts are probably involving a blobbish creature called the Greedy.
Because without a sweetheart, I never get enough.
And two naked dolls that do, this.
Where'd you go? Where'd you go? What did you do and why? Tell us what you saw, dear Raggedy. We're so curious, we could die. Whoa!
Raggedy Ann scares me! Most kids were freaked out by this movie, which caused a whole generation of kids to be scared by this fucking thing. Even though it wasn't really a good film, and it was a huge flop at the box office, it was certainly creative, and gave us a whole shitload of things to freak our minds over. If you can believe it, the same guy who animated Toontown was also the director of this screwed up little fable. I know, quite a stretch, huh? I never thought I'd say this, but after seeing this movie, Raggedy Ann is just plain fucked up. What if it isn't Mr. Puppy? Hello, Mr. Puppy! Oh my god, a gorilla! Number. The opening to the Beetlejuice cartoon.
It's showtime!
I'm convinced this show had the coolest opening ever. Not only were the images out there and deranged, but the music sounded like a group of Christmas carolers singing on a fucking tilt-a-whirl. Look at all these weird creations that just continue to fly out at you. If Tim Burton had never done acid, I'd hate to see what happens if he does. I remember the show itself being okay, and you could definitely call it a very strange series, but it's this fucked up opening that always got your attention. I could honestly just watch this a dozen times and probably be just as satisfied as watching an episode. It was kind of like a Disney ride. Designed by the Manson family. Creepy, kooky, mysterious, and spooky, the opening of Beetlejuice knew how to creep us out as well as hype us up. Number 11. The Hallucination from Beavis and Butthead Do America. I know neither the show nor the movie was intended for kids, but that didn't stop us from watching it anyway. And boy did it lead to one of the biggest trip-out moments ever. It all starts when Beavis and Butthead are stranded in the desert, as Beavis takes a bite of a cactus that causes him to start hallucinating. And what follows is... the best damn hallucination ever! Now, it's pretty well known that Beavis and Butthead have never been very big in the artistic department. But when they got the designs of Rob Zombie's illustration work, the rest is mindfuck history. And as soon as it's over, of course, no one ever mentions it again. Yeah, okay.
Big Lip Alligator moment!
Actually, a lot of these mindfucks are essentially Big Lipped Alligator moments, but as long as they entertain and mess up our perception of normality, it's always welcome. Number Gutenberg. Willy Wonka's Tunnel from Hell. Yeah, I know I put this on a list already, but this scene is just so goddamn strange I had to mention it again. I mean, what is up with it? The rest of the movie is so charming and magical, and then all of a sudden we're transported into Satan's warp zone. What was the point?
I think I'm gonna be sick.
There is no life I know
to get off the boat,
to compare with pure imagination. Living there you'll be free if you truly will. Number 5. This is Halloween from The Nightmare Before Christmas. This is by far the best part of the movie. It's the best song, best visuals, and best out of your fucking mind moment. Every second something is flying at you, and in a world where everything is designed to scare, chances are you're gonna come across some freaky moments. This world is so surreal that bats actually have strings attached to them. Whoa, that's just crazy! All the creatures of Halloween are in the opening and are all recognizable. Except for one. What the hell is that guy? He looks like a chewed up reject from Where the Wild Things Are. I mean, what's he doing there?
I am a genius.
While the whole movie is of course a classic, it's the song sequence that we remember the most. Because it has the most freaky ass shit coming at us. A few years ago, this film was released again in theaters and presented in 3D. I'm having a hard enough time watching in 2D! I don't need 3 dimensions to tell me how fucked up this is!
Aren't you scared?
Whether you're scared by it or not, This is Halloween definitely rates a 9.5 on the what the fuck-a-meter. What? Number Piano. The Pink Elephants from Dumbo. Again, this is a perfectly normal kids film that suddenly takes a trip down LSD land in the middle of the movie. The scene starts out with Dumbo getting drunk. I just realized how strange that sounds. We see him start to blow bubbles with his trunk as the bubbles start shapeshifting.
You see what I see?
And then... chaos! A parade of pink, black-eyed demons come dancing out of nowhere and decide to have a freak-out.
Pink elephants on parade, here they come, hippity-hoppity. They're here, and there are pink elephants everywhere.
I actually love watching this movie when little kids are around because they never know if they should be enchanted or horrified.
I am not the type to faint when things are odd or things are quaint.
Chase 'em away, chase 'em away. I'm afraid, need your aid, pink elephants on parade.
I'm not pissing myself with fear. But why?
The scene just gets more and more surreal until the final gangbang of consciousness takes place.
Was it good for you?
Totally out of nowhere and totally making no sense, Pink Elephants was a bubbly brain bash that no amount of alcohol can make you forget. And the number theory of relativity nostalgic mindfuck is... the opening to Pee-wee's Playhouse. Somehow Pee-wee keeps making it on my top 11 list. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but in this slot, it's definitely called for. The show starts off in the middle of the forest, and at first, it's kind of relaxing. The music is very mellow, and nothing much is really going on, and you see what your house would look like if you were the richest stoner in the world. But just as you're starting to relax... Is the window talking? It goes into Mindfucks Central, where literally everything in the house can talk. The chair, the clock, the window, everything. The only thing I never saw talk on the show was the floor, and that's because I don't think it ever had anything to say. We also hear the song sung by a woman, or at least I hope it's a woman, who sounds like she just sucked a year's worth of helium.
Get out of bed! There'll be no more napping. It hoits when I breathe.
And if you think this little checking out of your sanity doesn't last very long, think again. Most TV shows have an opening of about 30 seconds, a minute at the most. Pee-wee's Playhouse has an opening of 2.5 minutes, never once showing a single solitary credit. If an introduction where everything talks, chipmunks are singing, and Lawrence Fishburne wears a cowboy suit isn't considered the ultimate mindfuck, then quite frankly, I think it's time you get an intervention. And those are the top 11 nostalgic mindfucks. Well, I think it's time to return to reality. I said, I think it's time to return to reality. Hey, come on, guys! Hey, knock it off! Right! Elephant! Thank you, terrifying logo. I needed that. Hey, how come you didn't come out when I mentioned the pink elephants? Oh, it's because I mentioned the S at the end, isn't it? You only come out when I say the word elephant. 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 I had my fun. I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remember it so you don't have to.